Cover you up.
Y'all. Sit on. Our little red there, you'll see that worm hanging out. That's a Morning Dawn. Aaron Martin's Ode to Aaron, Morning Dawn. Robo worm. So, looks like it works. One of the most popular bass worms. On a shaky head. What do you know? Reds like it too. That red, y'all. Got that robo worm, that shaky head right there. Hey y'all, so I've been thinking the past 2-3 weeks about a bass technique that's very, very popular, has been for probably at least a couple decades, or going back since we can remember when it comes to bass fishing, the worm, right? So I'm not just fishing a worm, I'm fishing it on a shaky head. So essentially it's a lead head, kind of, sometimes the head will be flat, different designs, got your hook. A lot of times it has different keepers. This case has, you can't see it, but it's got a little screw-on keeper there for the worm. Basically just tuck your worm in, kind of skin hook, and it's essentially weedless, right? So the way it works, cast out, and you're essentially just bopping on the bottom, bounce on the bottom. The worm tail kind of flutters in the water column, so it's just like a worm. This is a 6-inch. This is Robo Worm, Aaron Martin's Morning Dawn color. One of probably the most popular shaky head colors in the nation. So anyhow, I'm thinking, so what does that have to do with inshore fishing? I've wondered throughout the years, and I'm sure most bass fishermen have, and there's been conversations on message boards and at the dock, you know, really silly in nature. Like, why is it do bass eat worms, right? Plastic worms, probably the most effective bass lure. Who knows, right? We know there's not a bunch of earthworms crawling along the bottom of our lakes and rivers and streams, right? So what is it? I think I've always thought with your baits that don't look like anything that's actually swimming around, it instinctively, or I believe it plays on their instincts as an easy meal, an opportunity. You know, these fish are in survival mode. It's all about eating and spawning, rinse and repeat. And so it's all about survival. And so when something easy comes along, something bouncing along the bottom, worm-like, not fast, it's an easy meal. It registers as something alive, and it's an easy meal, right? Again, something I've thought about for a long time. So I started thinking again, well, why wouldn't this be effective inshore, right? We have self-imposed rules when it comes to our fishing and our targeting different species, as far as what works, what doesn't. And so why wouldn't trout, redfish, flounder, what have you, also see this instinctively as an easy meal? And so my goal was to come out and try it. Now, I didn't have to go buy anything because I have tubs full of these worms, shaky head worms, shaky heads. Just, you know, as usual, you buy way too much of whatever you're using at the time. And over the years, I've accumulated it. So I just threw some in the boat, came up into our marsh waters, our bayous, and started throwing it. And sure enough, right off the bat, when I've been able to find them and put it in front of them, the reds smoke it, as you'll see. It's just that instinct that I was talking about. You can tell it happens. Like, you can see the swirl and then boom, the thump. And so it just registers. These fish see it. They see it as food. And I'm excited. I'm excited to tell you all about a new technique you can add. I'm excited about being able to use all these plastics sitting in the tub in the closet that have not been in the boat because I'm inshore fishing, right? That's bass fishing stuff. Well, not anymore, right? So shaky heads. Now, color-wise, I don't think it's going to be too particular. I've got a lot of green pumpkins and, you know, a lot of your natural colors. This is probably the brightest version I have. I'm probably going to pick up some bait fish colors and some shrimp colors too. Would probably be a good idea. This is one of those. But any case, that's all it is. You can just look up shaky head online. Pick any straight tail worm you want. Heck, if you want to get creative, you can use curly tails or whatever too. But I'm just using straight tail. And you just kind of keep bottom contact just like you usually do anyways. As far as most of us that fish inshore with plastics, jig head and plastics, you're bouncing that bottom, nothing changes. And then hold on, because already in my short little time fishing it today, this morning, it clicks. You can just tell when fish go bonkers over it. So more to come. But the way in which they're eating it is just really, they're telling on themselves and how much they like it. Super excited. I'm excited to have another technique to be able to utilize. It's a small red here, but there you go, y'all. That's about a 18-inch red. Nothing in this world I wouldn't do. Boom, boom, boom. There's one. That's a nice trout. Trout on the worm, player. Not a big one, but you'll notice that is a robo worm hanging out of that trout's mouth. Thunked it. That is my first trout on a shaky head. Figured they'd like it. There he is. Nice trout, big trout, big trout. Kid. Yeah, dude, let's go. Let's go. Come on, man. Get it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Woo! My son didn't believe me. He didn't believe that shaky head catches them big trout. Playa. Golly. Quick little, he's bleeding. I'm gonna rescue him, but about 20-inch fish. Hey, y'all. Just want to review kind of the tackle that I'm using for this shaky head inshore fishing that you just got an opportunity to watch. So we had a pretty good day. I'm excited to use this in some areas a little bit later in the spring where much greater quantity of fish and I get on more fish. Today I was actually exploring a lot of new areas. We've got decent amount of reds up in the areas that I'm at, and some trout are very scattered. So never got the impression that I was on a bunch of fish, but still, hey, caught several reds, caught a couple good trout, even a big one, all on the shaky head bass worm. So how cool is that? So again, just to show you one more time, that's the basic setup that I have. That's a robo worm. It's one of the colors I use, and that's the jig head. And again, it just bounces on the bottom and just the tail kind of flutters up and it just shakes, shaking worm on the bottom. You just maintain that bottom contact. So I've got a ton of plastics, and I'll certainly, as I have more videos on this, I'll definitely share the colors that work the best. I can just share now with what I'm using now and what I brought with me. I just brought a few as I'm just kind of working into this. But yeah, that's your standard robo worm plastic. That is Aaron's Morning Dawn. Famous color in the bass world. Already caught some trout on that. Another little very popular and cheap, you can get this anywhere in any tackle store, your Zoom finesse worms. These are the 4-inch worms. That's a cotton candy color. That's a baby bass color. Those are great. Another one is probably gonna be really good in saltwater. Now, caveat, I haven't used it. My son has used this just on a regular jig head and caught some reds a couple summers ago. But this is the hit worm by Power Bait hit worm. Real popular bass, shaky head bass bait, drop shot bait, especially up in smallmouth country up in the north. Got that max scent Power Bait smell. I think that's gonna be really good in saltwater. Another one, I've caught fish on this quite a bit for smallmouth up north when our last Air Force assignment. This is the Z-Man Fatty Z. It's got kind of like, it's just a worm shape, but it's got kind of like a bulbous tail, and it's Elastec material. A lot of good quiver shaking action to this. I think this is going to be really good on the shaky head, but more to come, we'll see. I just wanted to share a few, just get you an idea of what I'm using when I say these 6 to 4-inch worms. So I want to show you what they look like and just some of the basic brands. Again, there's about 100 or more so brands. Everybody's got one. Finesse worms, shaky head worms, that kind of thing. A great one, you've probably heard of the Zoom trick worm. That's one I don't have on me, but I have a bunch back at the house. That's one, 6 inches, that I'll use a lot too, I'm sure, coming up. So just gonna go through a couple of the basic jig heads. So that's kind of the style of the jig head. See that little screw lock? It's got a flat head, so it's designed to kind of stand up, along with essentially all the buoyancy of that plastic. That's what allows it to bounce on the bottom. Another design is, this one's got almost like it's like a lead head that just had the top cut off. So it's flat, also designed to stand straight up. Also has the little spring lock there, locker. We've got a little bit different kind here. This kind is good for, this one does not have the spring lock. And if you ever tried to put Z-Man or Elastec baits on a spring lock, you know it's very difficult. So this one has just got the little metal notch keeper there, and you basically just thread the upper part of that worm on and then kind of Carolina text pose it back in. But that's kind of what you would use with Elastecs. That's kind of it in a nutshell. That's essentially the two kinds of jigs that I'm using. That's just your standard shaky head jig. There's a bunch of companies out there that make them. But yeah, that's kind of the rundown. And like I said, I'm using since I've already, as I saw today, and I'm sure it's only going to become more pronounced, reds love this. Like I said, I was excited to catch some trout on it, and I'm sure flounder, when they show up, are going to eat it also, but the reds definitely love it. So with that said, a lot of times in the bass world, guys will use medium light spinning. I want to be beefed up a little bit when I run across reds. I don't like to get my butt whooped in the fight. Reds are going to fight hard regardless, but I want to be beefed up a little bit. So I go with a medium to a medium heavy. This is a Shimano Curado. This is actually a medium heavy, but it fishes like a lot of mediums out there for different brands. I'm not using anything special. It's 20-pound braid, and I've got 15-pound fluorocarbon. So braid to fluoro is really all you need. It allows you enough, light enough line where you can still cast well with this. These aren't big heavy baits. I do, of that note actually, unlike maybe swim bait jig heads for swim baits, for fishing swim baits and things like that, where a lot of times an inshore will go really light. For this, you want to go heavier because you want to maintain bottom contact. You want it to stay on the bottom. You don't want that getting up in the water column. So this technique is on the bottom, and so I go typically 3/16 to 1/4 ounce in that range, whatever, depending on your depth, but whatever I need to do to make sure that I'm not having to fish extra slow to maintain bottom contact or letting it sink a lot. I want it to be on there, and I want to pop it, and I want it to go right back down every time. And so, yeah, that's about it. I was pretty excited to be able to have a hunch on this for the shaky heads and it actually working inshore. Again, from what I saw today, there's gonna be some awesome footage coming, and so there will definitely be more shaky head inshore fishing videos coming, but for the time being, I was glad to be able to show you this one and show you some decent fish and kind of run down through the basics with you. All right, this has been Kyle with Inshore Edge. Appreciate you following. We'll also make sure to comment and ask any questions in the comment sections of Facebook, YouTube. I'll be able to answer pretty quickly any and all questions. So happy to help.